Ian, how did you get into paleontology?
Um, I partial insanity, I think. uh, the best way to answer it is life is never a straight path. Um, you know, those of you who've talked to me a couple of times leading up to the big read up know that I live in a world myself of supernatural dinosaur steampunk adventures. So um, I've always kind of felt like a person out of time. I was always strangely gifted at really strange things. So doing very simple tasks in school, things that seemed very straightforward, were extremely difficult for me. So it wasn't until
Kind
I
of froze up, or am I
yeah.
froze up? Everybody looks a little froze up.
You're
Uh,
frozen. The rest of us are okay.
Looks like Ben's frozen.
Ben is frozen. You're good, Ian.
Can everybody hear me still?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, so
let me just put in before you can continue, Ian. So we are at our time, in fact, a few minutes over, and we love doing kind of after parties for this. So if you're not required to go somewhere else, we'd love for you to stay for the discussion for another 10 to 15 minutes. But if you do have to leave, I just want to say thank you so much for coming today to the read up. And continue your story, Ian.
Yeah, so basically it wasn't until I was out of high school that I sort of stumbled. I actually started out in theater and decided theater people were too dramatic.
They are.
I did some different things with arts, and I ended up in an anthropology course. And one of the things I discovered was I was really, really, really good at the physical anthropology stuff, which is not something that you ever get as a high school student, at least not, in the late 80s and 90s when I was in high school. So there is where my journey started, was with the physical stuff, with the concepts of deep time. It's like the stuff that everybody else struggled with, I was really good at. And then we got into cultural anthropology, and all of my cohorts in the anthropology course track were like, oh, this is great, I love cultural anthropology, and I couldn't stand it because people. So I decided that I really liked the idea of deep time. I liked things that came before. I was very good at the physical aspect of bones and horizons, and so I just went further back in time, and that really put me on course for vertebrate paleontology. And it just so happened that in high school I had read Jack Horner's first book, Digging Dinosaurs. And it wasn't really like a bucket list thing, but I ended up working with him at Montana State, just out of dumb luck. And so he and I have some peculiarities in common as far as our learning styles go. So I was just very lucky to have been able to connect with him. And, as a mentor, he was he was tough love, but it was also like, anything you want to do here, do it. So, I was lucky as an undergraduate to have had some really great resources.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I did promise the people that are on Facebook Live would ask this question as well of Teresa. I think you mentioned this, but I'd like to give you the opportunity. So obviously, number one, Thunder Girl is not your only book. So if you could share a little bit about your other works, and also what's on the horizon. What are you, I know you're a writer, you're always writing something. So what's on the horizon?
Sure. So I have 6 books out right now. One of them just came out in February, actually. And I also wanted to mention that particular book, it's called Earth Keepers, all one word. It's the ebook's available for free download today only. So if you want to check that out, I had a lot of fun with it. So Yeah, I do a lot of science fiction. I call myself a fantasy and science fiction author, but somehow my stories always end up involving robots. So I guess it's more of the science fiction side of things. Um, and as for what's coming up, I'm getting ready very soon to start on my next novel. It's going to be super fun. It's like a kind of space opera. It's got giant robots in it. It's going to be a lot of fun. And also, very soon, Ben's going to be doing another audiobook for me of my second novel, which I hope he enjoys doing that. It's also about giant robots because that is a theme I can't seem to stay away from. So I hope he has a lot of fun with that.
And what's the name of that one?
On Borrowed Wings.
Oh, great title. Very great title. Again, I'm scanning over. If anybody else has questions of any of us, feel free to ask them now, or as we always say, or hold your peace, because we're about to end this self itself. And always appreciate those of you who came today, first time, or if you're a regular itself. We will be doing these on a regular basis, about twice a month, with Zach Bates, and then the guest authors as well. If you have a guest author you think we should be showcasing in this way, feel free to direct those to me at my web address, or my email address is brad@wbradfordswift.com. And if I put that in the text, in the chat section itself, but I'll put that in again as we end itself. If for some reason you want to save some of the information on the chat, depending on what type of device you're on, if you click on the chat area, you should see at the bottom where you write out the comments, 3 little buttons. And if you click on that button, you can actually save the chat. So when we end this call, it will be saved so you can have all that information. Anything else?
I want to say thank you to Brad, Ben, Tricia, and Ian for all making this so exciting today. I'm Brad's wife, and I just came for the second time, and it was like, woohoo! This was good. Thank you.
It was fun.
And all this steampunk was her design. I said, help me, I need something. And in the space of about an hour, she put this together. So thank you, Ann. I appreciate it.
We've got another question on the chat. Jason wants to know if we'll see any more adventures in the world of Thunder Girl. And the answer is yes, I am planning on it. I've got a sequel planned. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to have even more supernatural stuff in it. And I can guarantee at least one insane vampire. It's going to be fun. Also, as far as fossils, it's going to take place in Australia. So we're going to see a lot of fun fossil Australian megafauna from the Pleistocene. So that's
Sounds like I should get to break out the old Aussie accent too.
Yes, actually, there's going to be a really fun mechanoid who's Australian. He's an Australian shepherd mechanoid that I based off after a certain breed of Australian sheepdog. So you're going to have fun with that one.
Love Australian sheepdogs.
So with that, just a reminder, if you want to get the book Thunder Girl, you can get the physical copy, or you can get the print copy, or if you want to listen to my whole performance of it, it's available on Audible and iTunes. And thank you so much, Teresa, for being here. Also, I have another book that I just finished up narrating that I actually have an Aussie accent synthetic intelligence dude. So it's fun. Anything else?
Yeah, actually, I wanted to ask you, Ben, what was narrating Thunder Girl like for you? Can you give me some thoughts on the experience? I really admire what you do, and I'd really love to hear more about what that was like for you.
This has been one of my funnest books that I've done, just because and I love at least a little bit of everything that I've done, but this is kind of one of those that it's like I really liked it because the characters are so lovable. There's a certain innocence to all of them, and and curiosity and whatever, and then also then just the doing different effects and whatever, which I have. You might have heard once or twice. This is the actual bowl I used for when I was doing the recording and with series, and it has this little lip on it that occasionally catches my whiskers. I had to edit out a whole lot of little tings from that pulling on my whiskers. But I also do a couple of After Effects to, like with Cronus. I think I did some additional After Effects, and later there's the mechanoid Giscard, and he was fun too. And I love things that are a little more out there, but still just so imaginative. So I loved doing it. When I first started getting into doing audiobooks, I was a little hesitant about, well, what about, narrating female characters and whatever. But now, I mean, I've narrated 6 books in Jane Austen's Dragons, where there's dragons, but there's also Elizabeth Bennet and Anne Wentworth, Eliot, whatever. And so I've just learned, it's not a matter of going into falsetto, but it's just changing things. And I love what I do. And I'm pretty sure that comes across in my performances.
Yeah.
So, and the fact that I get all donned up like this for things like this, I love it. So yeah, I loved narrating Thunder Girl, and I look forward to any more you can do in this universe. And I'm excited to do the next book with you too, with the On Borrowed Wings. So
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah.
Anything
Thank you.
else?
Yeah, actually, I had another question for you. Do you know German? When I first pitched the project to you, you asked about Valerie's French, but you didn't say anything about Iapetus's German.
I do. Yeah. I mean, I don't know German. I know how to pronounce German. I know a few German things here and there, but yeah, it's something where as I go along, I'm picking up more accents and whatever. Like, honestly, if you ask my wife and kids 5 years ago, if there was somebody with a French accent or any Frenchish stuff, I would just skip over it. I'd be like, yeah, it's French, blah, 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 blah. But now it was, I had, with one of Jane Austen's Dragons, there was a character who needed a French accent. And about that time, it was, I don't remember who picked the book in our family, but we read an Agatha Christie Poirot book, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to embrace it. And granted, he's Belgian, not French, but I did some research into the accent, and now, honestly, I'm comfortable doing it. I still, if I actually see French words, I'm like, there are way too many letters that you don't pronounce. And I mean, English has that too, but I was raised on English, whereas German, Spanish, you say every letter. And and anytime in picking up an accent or whatever, it's something where obviously I'm speaking it in English, but with the inflections of that, there are certain things that you pick up that just you change, and that goes for if you're doing an English accent, a Cockney accent, whatever. I mean, Afrikaans, so on and so forth. And I know I'm not perfect, and I've had some people who on my reviews have said, oh, his accent was this was horrible, but I'm learning. So I appreciate people's patience, and I love doing it. So
I just want to add that I think that Teresa and I are forming a little partnership with some of the other authors that you narrate.
I love that,
To
Casey.
see what we can come up with, in our characters that might, challenge you to continue that growth and development that you obviously are doing a great job at. So I'm looking forward to thinking up, what would be that next character for me that might have a French, Austrian, Aussie accent or something like that. So
Yeah, Ben, start working on
Eastern
your
Mongolian. What's that?
Start working on your Armenian.
My Armenian. Oh dear.
No, actually, I'm pretty sure he would have a Russian accent. There's
Okay. I could pull that off.
No, it's okay. You can do Russian accent. It's
Okay.
Okay, we do need to wind this up. I do also want to once again thank Ian for coming on and really adding a whole new dimension to this read up with your real dead dinosaur bones, and look forward to some of you coming back next time on May 8th for our next read up.
Yay.
Bye, everybody.
All right. Beam me up.